So we're live. Welcome to Hayden's Conversations. I really want to start a podcast. Welcome to Hayden's Conversations. I'm starting a podcast where I want to have conversations that I would want to have with my friends and people that I really enjoy talking to, and just learning who people are, because that's the conversations I like to have, more like philosophical conversations. I mean, I like to learn, listen to others, journey through, outside of philosophy, right? Like outside of like listening to somebody's journey through life, or kind of what they're going through right now and lessons that they've learned. Like that's like the biggest thing. I really enjoy conversations like that because I think we all can relate, or there's a lesson that you could have learned that I need to learn, or a lesson that I've learned that I could be listening to your story and be like, you know, this is my input. This is what I see. And this is my opinions on how you could go about it, right? Like my input. But I also like to listen and hear about, you know, a different career. Like what's your career path that you have and what entails in those, in your journey to get to your career, how you got there, and then kind of like what your day-to-day life is. Because I think that's another thing too, is it's really fascinating, is that we all have such a different day-to-day lifestyle, and we don't actually have the time. I mean, we might have the time, but I guess in my perspective, in my viewpoints, there's so many people obviously in this world that just live different lives. And we all have our little circle. So like we're constantly telling the people in our little circle what's going on in life. But then even then, depending on the people in your circle, it could be very face value, very small input about. So like today, my day, what I did today is, I don't know, if you're thinking about a conversation you had with your friend and they ask you, like, how was your day today? Oh, dude, it was good. Just busy as fuck. You know, and that's, I think, a common answer that we give, just like an automated answer. Whereas the conversations that I would like to have on this podcast are not necessarily so much like, how was your day? Oh, it was busy. It's like, no, how was your day? How was your last few years? Like I haven't seen you in X amount of years, and what have you gone through? Because there's so much time and memories and things that you've done in 2 years, hypothetical, like say it's 2 years, that just saying I'm so busy summarizes everything into like nothing, right? So that's kind of like the point of this podcast, is I'd like to have conversations where we actually go in depth about what has changed in the last few years, what the lessons that you've learned, what is it that you feel like you need to learn, or is there something that you haven't learned yet that you're like, fuck, I'm chasing this feeling that I need to learn something, right? And that's where I feel like I'm at right now. I'm like, you know, what is it that I need to do, or what is it that I haven't done to get to where I want to be at? What is it I haven't learned for me to get to where I want to be? What is it that I'm not doing to get there? And part of it that is kind of, I don't know if it's like scary, or if it's scary is not the right word. Part of it that is a fear of mine is that I won't be able to achieve my goals because I don't know why. It's just a fear of mine. And doing a podcast like this, partially I have a partial fear that this is just another distraction. This is another thing that I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing. But again, there's something that I can always learn from a conversation, that maybe what you tell me could help change my mind and help kind of like change my lens, right? Changing the lens that you look out of, change that perspective to learn something and to grow from something. And that's kind of like the goal that I really want to achieve in this podcast. Not only within myself, within other people that will be on the podcast, as well as just having a good conversation, because time and life goes by so fast that when was the last time you had a conversation where it's literally like this? Obviously not in a podcast, but literally sitting next to somebody eye to eye and just no distraction, no noise, no TV on. There's a pot like lo-fi music. Lo-fi music is a vibe. I like that. But like literally having a conversation with somebody about what's going on in their life and what they're trying to accomplish, what it is, just simply life, talking to them about their life. Again, not about your life. That's the other thing too, is being able to talk to somebody about their life. Right now, that's where I see a lot of conversations that, whether I'm watching a podcast or even like out in public, if you look out and eavesdrop into a conversation, which I don't do all the time. I'm just saying when I happen to like catch something that somebody said, I'm like, and then I just kind of like listen. The entire conversation is people are talking at each other, they're not talking to each other. So this is what I like to think about is just a perspective change. If you're going to talk to somebody and you say, hey, this is my problem, this is what I got going on, this is me, this is me, this is me. Think about changing the way that you approach that conversation to get a better result from that conversation. So, example, if you go up to somebody and say, hey, I need to talk to you because this is what's going on in my life, this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Or even it's a good thing. Like it might not even be a bad thing. It's just a good thing. Like, oh, like you'll never guess what I did, this and this and this and this, right? As you're doing that, the person you're telling is getting ready to respond with what it is that they're doing. Most of the time, there is people that, don't do that, but it seems like that's what I was saying in public, is a good example is where you hear somebody say, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. And then their return is, well, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. Approach the conversation just differently. So whether it's hey, you need help to fix something, or hey, this is a great accomplishment that I've made, what you could do, and this is what I want to do on this podcast, is say, hey, any question I have or any question I would like to be asked, anything I would like to tell somebody, I would like them to ask me this question so that way I could tell them what it is that I want to tell them. So say, I want somebody to ask me, what was something exciting you got to do today? Instead of me saying, hey, this is what I got to do that was really exciting, right? I'm looking for somebody to ask me what was exciting about your day. I ask them what's exciting about their day first. And I listen and I let them explain their entire day that was super exciting, what they're going through, and actually listen. Because if I ask somebody else how they're doing, I'm listening for their answer. And they're going to answer to me the question that I asked them. And then most of the time, and this is what I would recommend as well, most of the time they're going to say, what about you? However, this is where communication comes in, and that person that was super excited to tell themselves about you, or tell you about themselves, they should also be just as excited to hear about yourself. Tell them about your exciting event that just happened. So it's a constant back and forth, but it should be effort both ways. Versus if I just go to you, I say, hey, guess what I got to do? Then they're like, well, guess what I got to do, blah, blah. And then there's no like feeling that you were looking for, to that excited feeling from your friend, possibly, right? But anyways, so I digress. Jeez, that was a long tangent. God, the second. So the podcast name is Hayden's Conversations. Maybe the phrase is like one of the things could be like a tangenter or something like that. I don't know. I tangent all the fucking time. See, I just fucking tangented right there. Anyways, that was my whole point of explaining what it is that this podcast is going to be and why I want to do this podcast. Just listening to other people's story and conversation, getting to know them better. Also, it's like, dude, okay, so I don't tangent. Here we go. But it also goes in line with this. I'm not saying I disagree with therapy, because people have problems and you go solve them and do your thing. Like everyone has their own way to do things in life. I understand that. Now, my personal opinion and how I feel is that I don't care enough to go get kind of therapy for some issues that I might have or personal problems that I could go get somebody and see, like, even quotations. And I'm not necessarily saying that you can't do it. I'm just saying I don't believe in it, right? However, I also feel that this is a great medium to kind of have a conversation about somebody else, and then they have a conversation with you about yourself. And so it's like, this is basically therapy, except not with a therapist, with a friend. Because honestly, I would say, my opinion again, so don't take this as in like I'm educated or anything like that. But my opinion is that if somebody next to me is telling me about a bunch of their problems, I'm not somebody that doesn't know them. I can be like, well, yeah, if this is your problem, it's because of X, Y, Z. You're constantly doing this and this and this. Whereas all you have to do is change this one thing. Versus a therapist doesn't necessarily know you personally. They don't know the life decisions you've made for the last 5 years. So if you're saying this is what I'm doing, like, oh wow, like you're putting in so much effort, but versus, are you really? Are they actually going to tell you, hey, I know who you are. I've seen the things that you do. I've seen the constant repetitive actions of not doing something. And hear me out. I experience the same things. What is it that I'm not doing that I should be doing to get to where I want to be? So it's not like a thing that I think like I know more. It's a thing that I can know someone personally more than just the therapist does. And you have to pay somebody to do this. Like, I'm not taking pay. You know what I mean? Like I'm just having a conversation to get to understand and know you more. So I think this is a good intro of my very first video. It's not cleaned up. I have my headphones over there. I'm not trying to do like something stupid professional. I want it to be nice and educational and something that you can kind of sit in bed and relax, or in the car, like driving around, whatever, on the on your way to work or doing something like that, right? But this isn't necessarily something that my goal is to provide financial education, provide homeownership education, so I'm a helicopter pilot, and I'm not going to talk about helicopter stuff. I'm not purposely going to talk about helicopter stuff. And the only reason why I bring up that is because that's my career. Like, it's not necessarily a career podcast. It's a podcast to personally get to know somebody. That's my goal. That's my podcast vibes that I want. We did a podcast with Jason and I, which is one of my really good friends. And it's really cool to go back and watch it. And I see the differences in where we were at in life. And not necessarily life. I guess the differences of where we were at, and not differences, excuse me. Let me reiterate myself. The ideas that we had for the podcast, in hindsight now, looking back at it, I feel that I would have liked it to be more organic. A conversation where somebody comes in and I'm like, what's up, dude? Like, yeah, like, fuck, we're on the camera, we're talking, blah, 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 whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, let's have a conversation between me and you that we would normally have over the phone. I have 2-hour phone call conversations with you once a week, minimum. So let's just have that conversation in person and have that sincerity to it, where we were still very sincere in this other podcast that I'm talking about, because the answers that we gave were sincere answers, but they were very like prefabricated questions. It was like, hey, come to the come to the table with 10 questions that I have for you and 10 questions you have for me, however it worked. And we would just ask those questions. And so it was like little bits of this and this and this and this versus let's just have a conversation, because that's what I want to see. So if I want to see that, why not create that? That's kind of my idea that I have when it comes to a podcast. So now that's why I'm starting this. I want to have the genuine conversations while also enjoying being the podcast that I would like to see as well. It's kind of like one of those things when you watch Joe Rogan. If you're watching Joe Rogan, well, I say Joe Rogan because I watched Joe Rogan. But think about like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, Sean Ryan. There's so many other podcasts that I watch that I don't even. Either Chris Williamson, I think, is one of them. So many podcasts that I watch because I don't really watch TV. I like to watch podcasts or some type of realistic interaction. That way, I'm not like completely just draining my. I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like if I watch TV, I'm wasting my time. So if I'm watching a podcast, at least I can get something out of it. So every time I watch a big podcast, right? Like this is the whole point of why I'm saying this is if you're talking about Joe Rogan, any of these guys, or any podcast that you watch, I don't know if it's just me or if y'all feel like this too, but I would like to hear a conversation from not people that are in Hollywood. And I wouldn't say like, I'm not saying Joe Rogan or Tucker Carlson or all these guys are Hollywood. I'm just saying where they're at in their life is such a different period and point in their life that I want to have conversations with the people that are in the period and the point that I'm at in my life, or even like around where I'm at. I'm not making multi-millions of dollars to sit here and have a conversation. I don't have a studio set up. I don't have a producer. I don't have tons of following, which isn't something that I'm saying that I want or I don't want or anything like that. I'm just saying that like when you start to listen to people like that, it's a great perspective change to listen to somebody that comes from such a different background, and maybe not a background like when they were 25 and 26, 27, like my age, where like we could possibly be in the same period, just at a different age, right? So like whenever all these big names are big names now, where were they at when they were our age, my age, and younger? And I'm more interested now into like talking to the people that are in the same place and time of where I'm at. Because, it's just hard to listen to hundreds of millionaires talking about life. And you're like, okay. As much as like I will give credit to most of the people that I watch are very aware of their positions in life. So it's not like a millionaire, billionaire talking about like, oh, life is fucking hard and this is and I can't listen to that because it's just I'm not saying a millionaire's life is hard. Or a billionaire's life is hard, right? There's two. Being broke is hard. What is it? There's a saying. It says something along the lines of like, being broke is hard, being rich is hard. Choose your hard. Like they're both hard. I got that. Like I'm not saying that their life isn't hard. It's just a different level and a different perspective, and hard is just different. And I wouldn't say I'm broke, but I'm fucking closer to broke than I am being to rich, that's for sure. So when I listen to rich people talk about society and life now, it's just sometimes it can get draining because I'm like, it's just not the reality that I live in. It would be cool to live in that reality, living in a rich reality, but it's just that's not where I'm at in my life right now. I think it would be cool, and that's kind of a goal is. I wouldn't say my goal is to be financially, not rich per se, because I'm not chasing money. I would like to be free. I would like my freedom, financially free, the ability to live on my own schedule, which I think everybody should strive for. Right? Possibly. I'm not saying everybody has to. I'm just saying. But that's the reason why, again, another point to my fucking tangents, and then another point to where I'm like, this is why I want to create this podcast is because there's so many podcasters out right now at such a high level that it's also saturation of just high level people, which is great. No complaints necessarily on the people. It's now I would also like to watch the level or the other person that I can have a really in-depth conversation that understands the life that I'm going through. Maybe not like because they're my brother and my sister. It's because we all live relatively in the same social class, and same social classes feel the same issues. Somewhat, right? Somewhat. Because, you know, the other thing too behind that is, you know, like I said, I don't care about money. I care about the ability that money can bring. So if I want to go take my wife on a vacation, I have to have money to do that. So it's like, okay, then I have to work. And the last thing I want to be is a worker bee for the rest of my life. Like, anyways. So, and that's why, that's another reason why, like, part of me feels like, is this the right thing to do? Am I doing the right thing to get me to that next level? But I will say this. Part of me feels like this is another way that I can stress relief within myself. Because the goal is to have people on my podcast, in which I have a couple of people already that are scheduled to come on. And the relief that I get is talking to somebody and having a philosophical conversation, kind of philosophical, whatever it is, but it's more of just like a personal conversation about life. And that is my relief, because I enjoy that depthness and that connection that you're creating, because it creates a memory. You know, my goal would for this person to be sitting here and have a memory of, dude, do you remember that one time we had that really deep conversation? And maybe it's not like deep about some crazy deep shit, but it's like deep as in it was just a long conversation that had structure to it, where it was right, me listening to them listening to me giving them feedback, them giving me feedback, and just kind of playing fucking tennis back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then this is the crazy thing too, is what you realize is, like, you'll get tired of a long conversation like this, and it's just like working your brain out, or like working out your muscles. It's the same thing. You're having a brain workout of this conversation, and kind of building the skill to have a elongated conversation with that depth as well. So that's where part of the hook, because again, the reason why I'm saying that is that's where I feel good about what I do, like doing something like this, where it doesn't feel necessarily like I'm wasting my time, because I really enjoy the conversations like this. And so I think that's my rant. I don't know how much time it is or anything like that. There's no goal that I have other than just test run. Really, this is a nice little test run. Seeing how the audio sounds, seeing maybe some feedback of, I don't really care. I care about feedback, like, because I want it to be positive. I want this to be a good thing. But I no longer give a shit about social media on the sense of I'm going to chase likes, or I'm going to chase what this comment says that I have to do, or anything like that. Like, I just want to do what I want to do. And this is something that I want to do. And that's the other hard part about the decisions that you make in your life. Not many people are going to tell you that what you want to do is what you should do, because what you want to do isn't what they're thinking of what to do, you know, or what they think of how you should get to where you want to be at. So I don't know. I think this is kind of my first step into trying to find something that I would enjoy doing, where it's not just solely about me. It's something that I enjoy doing, is having a deep conversation or elongated conversation just about life and like what's going on, in life with another person, because our lives are so different that it's so crazy to me to think that this person next to me has lived for 20, 30 years and every single part of their life is different but the same, which is wild. And just different perspectives, different personalities, different characters. And the reason why we do the things that we do is because of X, Y, and Z, and just like listening to why this person has changed so much because of X, Y, and Z has happened in their past. And so they've learned from it, blah, blah, blah. So that's something I really enjoy having. So now starting a podcast, simply because maybe one day I can go back and watch these videos. I can show these videos to my kids, my grandkids, and just be like, damn, I remember what a time that was. I like recording events or times or consistent recording, because when you go back, it's the easiest way to remember vividly what's going on versus if you just take it. Sometimes I agree, put the phone down, put the camera down, and just see where you're at in life. And like an example is if you're out on, I don't know, like we went to Greece, right? Or actually Italy would probably be the better one because I was fucking fascinated with Italy. It's so beautiful. Or the pyramids, right? We went to the pyramids. I don't know. Anyways, all these things, it was like we took our pictures, we got our videos, but at the same time, it's like don't live on your phone as well. Create that moment for yourself. And then take a couple pictures, put the phone away. Take a couple videos, put the phone away. Because now if you're just living for a picture to remember it, you're actually not, there's nothing to remember other than the picture that you took. Like go out and live whatever it is that, you want to go do something. Go to, the reason why I'm saying Italy and all these things, sorry, fucking tangent, dog. I do this shit all the time. Is I like recording, but I don't want to get that mixed up with losing your life into recording or losing your life on your phone by only taking a picture, by only taking a video. It's like take a picture, but also put it away and enjoy the view, enjoy the moment. Take a second because you're never going to get that second back. Like I think that's the biggest thing about my take on recording. Is it's fun to record, but I also don't live by recording either. Well, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed. I hope the audio quality was good. If the audio quality is not good, I'm gonna fucking shoot myself because this is probably like a 30-minute video that I'll probably post anyways. I don't give a fuck. Anyways, hopefully the audio is good. Thanks for watching. First episode.